And we're live.
Welcome, welcome.
How's everybody doing today?
Hello,
By
hello.
everybody, I mean you.
I know. I was like,
'Cause
everyone.
they can't respond.
But how are you? I as well.
You as well.
I as well.
You is special.
That's-
You is
well, that's-
important.
I is very important.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Another movie review. Hope you guys enjoyed our compendium of the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far.
The last 2 weeks of us
But we're gonna
a quick catch up, so
Yeah.
to speak. So
We're actually going to go back in time right now.
gonna go back in time.
We're going to go back in time a little bit.
Yes.
From a timeline standpoint, and we are going to talk about Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Newest
The-
MCU film to come out.
Newest and one of the older ones chronologically.
Yeah, yet, kind of the third movie chronologically.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Maybe even the second. I don't know.
Yeah.
We did the thing for you.
I know. Go back.
Yeah.
My brain hurts from thinking about it. So
So,
yeah, we're going back to 1995.
kicking it old school,
Yeah.
as the kids say. I don't know. Do the kids actually say that?
Maybe in 95.
Maybe in 90.
Maybe in 95.
Back when phrases like the bomb were prevalent in the vernacular of the youth of the day.
Very, very true. But yeah, the latest and greatest.
One of them
Yes.
in my not so humble opinion.
I know. It'd be like starting out that one. Yeah, really, really good, solid movie. It's been getting a lot of kind of hate.
You think it got some hate?
I've
Seen some
It's
not
been
so favorable reviews. I have seen those. Yes.
yeah. It's been getting a lot of hate on behalf of for not a good reason, in my opinion, for a female lead. This is the first Marvel movie with a female lead.
It is.
And it was, I think they done it.
They done it.
They
Cheers
did
for
it
diversity.
They did it very, very well.
I agree. And I think they had a little bit of an uphill battle here. And personally, I think they kind of killed it.
Killed it in a good way. Killed it. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you mean
Marvel
by
is
that?
also in the murder business.
Okay. So
Brings
what do you
us
mean
to
by
our
the
first sponsor? This episode of Tucker and the Beard is brought to you by Murder Media.
Yes.
But no, I think they had an uphill battle because, listen, Captain Marvel isn't exactly what you would call a tier 1 character.
Correct. And when they did a second iteration, there was in the comics there was a male, the
Yes.
first Captain Marvel.
The first
We're
one.
not talking about, well, and we're coming out with, which kind of a segue of, there's a movie coming out by DC called Shazam.
That there is.
When that character was originally kind of created, it was called Captain Marvel
Yes.
before the name changing to Shazam, and they kind of stuck with that one. So there's two essentially kind of Captain Marvel movies coming out relatively at the same time, but
Some
one
quick
is
hits.
Shazam. So there's been a lot of hate coming from that because they're saying Shazam is the real true Captain Marvel, but the lead played by Brie Larson, Carol Danvers,
I thought she did
was
a
not
tremendous job.
not the first Marvel Captain Marvel.
This is breaking news to me.
Well, okay. The first one was a character called Marvel, which does make it iterate.
Yeah, makes a
but it's
little
kind
bit
of
a
they did
an
a similar
appearance.
they did a similar thing with Ant-Man that they used. They didn't use the first iteration.
Yes.
They used the second one.
Yeah.
So they're kind of doing a similar thing as far as Ant-Man, and you taking the opportunity to roll with it, having a female lead, and I think she did awesome.
Yeah, so if I was disappointed with anything, it was
yourself.
No, it was that the first female lead or female led Marvel film wasn't Black Widow. I think they've had some opportunities, and I know it's been some scheduling conflicts and,
Right.
and things like that that have prevented them. But I'll be the first to admit that I, up until now, didn't really care that much about Captain Marvel as a character.
Okay.
and I'm not alone. You know,
No, I
again,
didn't.
she's not a super high tier character in the Marvel universe in general.
Right. If there was if we were going to rank which ones in the movies that have come out that I've known least about, the ones that would be less than would be Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about Guardians of the Galaxy. Really don't know a whole lot about Captain Marvel other than what I've just spouted out, and
Yeah,
that's the end. I can go
you just-
now. I can leave. I mean, I know more now from watching this, movie,
Yeah.
but beforehand, that's about the extent of what I knew.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like, I have no attachments to this character.
Right.
Which again, in true Marvel fashion, I do now.
Right.
You know, like I'm interested. You know, again, same thing with the Guardians. I was barely aware of their existence.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
that was,
like I knew that they existed, but that was about it.
Right. That was I think it was, past my time of
Yeah,
when
if
I was a
someone-
youngster reading comic books,
Yeah, if
on a
someone was
routine basis.
Yeah, if someone was like, "Who's the Guardians of the Galaxy?" I'd be like, "I think they're a comic book."
Yeah. That was about it.
It's as good as I got.
So this would be a step up from there, but I was kind of going into this, and I knew that they were doing some time. We were going back in time a little bit to 1995. So I was a little, I don't want to say skeptic, but I was a little, nervous about because you're kind of playing with fire at that point, because all these things that we've picked up over the last 10 years, all these little tidbits and stuff, you're kind of messing with it a little
You
bit.
are. Yeah, you're messing
You're
with-
running the risk of messing with it.
Yeah.
And they touch bases. They answer a few questions. Again, I'm being really careful because
Yeah,
I don't want to ruin anything.
It just came out. Not everyone has had an opportunity to go running to the theaters to go see it, even though it had a pretty great box office for its opening weekend, from what I understand.
Yeah, and that was
Like
one of
second biggest or something like that in the MCU.
Yeah,
Second biggest in the
it's-
MCU, which
it's
basically
up there.
makes it the second biggest of all time because the MCU is a total box office juggernaut. right
Oh
now.
yeah. I mean, and they had got a lot of people because of it being a female lead, and again, we can hit on that.
Yeah.
Got onto Rotten Tomatoes before the movie was even released and just gave it negative reviews. So the scores on there were
People suck.
jeopardized. Yeah, were
Sometimes
jeopardized
people suck.
before the movie was even reviewed, because they're that's not my Captain Marvel.
It's not. Hashtag not my captain.
Yeah, not my captain. But at this point, I'm a big fan of, Brie Larson from, other things. And yeah, she did awesome.
I thought she
think
did a great job as the character. She had just enough of the humor,
right.
and just enough of that kind of badass chick
Right.
going at it. I mean,
Yeah. And to kind of,
it was a girl power movie in a lot of ways, but not in the ways that it wasn't like Marvel Studios made a superhero version of Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. You
right.
know?
it was a girl power movie, but I think that they did it in an excellent way.
Absolutely.
That I didn't feel displaced. I didn't feel like I didn't belong in
Not even a
watching the
little
movie. Not even one bit. And I think one of the things I had talked to you about was the fact, and I had read it somewhere that it was like, this was the first movie that didn't have the shirtless superhero scene.
Yeah.
In every other one, it's Thor, Captain America, and they have to have that one.
Yeah, at some point, some
Scene.
dude's going to take off his shirt.
Yeah, they didn't do that, which I was really, really happy about. I mean, for obvious.
Yeah, they didn't overly, I'll just come out and say it. They didn't overly sexualize the character.
Right.
Like some have the tendency to do.
Right. I think I was using, Wonder Woman as an example. And yes, that's a costume and it's been, so they didn't do it specially for the movie, but it wasn't, she wasn't scantily dressed or anything like that at any point. Like she was
Yeah.
in a, full superhero suit.
Yeah, I mean, she was wrist to ankle.
Yeah.
I mean, she was fully covered up, and it doesn't even listen, whether they had or they hadn't, it's kind of immaterial in my opinion, but
Right.
it was nice that this, again, same thing with Wonder Woman. What it was, there was definitely a message of female empowerment, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
but they did it in a very classy way,
Yeah.
and I thought that was great. I brought my daughters to the movie, and it was an example to them, in my opinion, where yeah, you can be a total bad chick, but you don't have to be in a miniskirt. So let's face it, Wonder Woman's costume, yeah, she's always kind of been in a short skirt and kind of a low cut top, but it was a little extra short and a little extra low cut, and
doesn't make
I'm
any
sure
sense.
that helped it sell tickets.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it was, realistically or whatever, but kind of going off the, female empowerment. I brought, my wife and 3 kids, my son and, my 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Afterwards, my son was like, I don't think that I was the key demographic, but I really, he really enjoyed it.
Well, and I think that speaks to how good of a film it was.
And that's what I mean. And my wife afterwards, she was like, I think, she's like, I was kind of, it got me emotional because of, sitting there with our daughters and, got her emotional for that, female empowerment, and just a really, really good movie.
Yeah. Well, how about two dudes stop talking about female empowerment? Even though it's an important topic.
It is very important.
I fully understand that there's plenty of people out there who don't think we have a right to comment on it, but we did it anyway.
I know. I'm saying it because it is important.
That's what we do.
They did a good job of it.
Yeah. I think it was pretty
it.
great. Yeah. That's why our laptop is rocking. It's on top of a...
Well, because we're
Costa.
We're awesome. That's why it's rocking.
It's rocking. So let's jump
We like to party.
What was arguably one of my favorite things about the film. Because up until now...
I know, it's like there's so many things, but I don't want to ruin anything.
And this won't ruin anything.
Right. The cat.
Well, first of all, I have a deep and abiding hatred of cats. I hate them so much.
I had one good cat. Everything after that is just...
There are no good cats. I hate to break this to you.
No, it was a good cat.
Anyways, there's no good cats. No, but up until now, the best soundtrack in the MCU was Guardians. But this spoke to my 90s alternative heart so much. The soundtrack to this film was fantastic.
And it was extra fantastic because we lived.
That was
that was
jam.
That was
some
my
of
high
those songs
school.
were literally my jam
Yeah.
at certain points in my life.
Yeah. And there's one in particular, and I don't want to, but it was like the big fight scene, and I think that it was perfectly they perfectly picked out of the 90s genre, and they didn't skip from that. It was the people that were in charge of doing the 90s references, and I mean, she falls into I'm not ruining anything, it's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer.
There was somebody that was surprised in the movie theater when that happened. Like, I've seen that to death, but she falls into a Blockbuster video.
Yeah.
And it was just the movies that were there, that were at the time.
Yeah. Well, and there was some nods to the movie that she
picks up
off the shelf is, kind of, again, going back to the...
If you pay attention,
to
right.
the girl power thing, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So many great 90s references throughout the whole thing.
Music. There's
not just the music, but I mean, the fashion was so on point.
And I think she was wearing, was it a Nirvana shirt or a 9 Inch Nails?
She was wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But yeah, the clothing and everything.
Yeah.
Going back to that. And then they kind of jump back to 1989 a little bit, throw something. And there's not too much, but it's believable. You buy it.
Yeah.
Or when she's younger. I guess they flash back further than that.
Yeah, fair warning. There is a lot of flashbacking and forwarding that you're going to have to just pay attention to.
Yeah, and it's not crazy. It's just her as a little girl and, regaining some memories.
Just pay attention to the timeline, kids. Because there's a lot of back and forth in the timeline.
There is. And then there's some actors that are, take place in the later movies, which is, Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And
what were your thoughts on how they unaged him?
honestly, I couldn't even really tell like a whole bunch.
So I'm going to show you a picture
Okay.
right now of a young Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
And then
That's
I want you to again revisit how well you think they did.
oh, I think they nailed it.
I think they killed it.
Yeah. That's what I was like. I couldn't
For
tell.
our not
and then,
live viewers, I'll put this on the screen somewhere over here so you can kind of take a look
Yeah.
at it yourself.
And then Agent Coulson, chosen appearance, which spoiler, he dies in the Avenger movie. We've already
That was like
talked
the
about
first
that.
Avenger movie.
I know, but he's still. But
He's
it's a
already back by now.
it's a young version.
Yeah, so this
Of
is
him.
this is
And they did
Fury
really well.
and Coulson
In '95,
pre-Shield ish. Not
The-
pre-Shield, they are Shield, but
younger
like,
days of Shield.
but
yeah,
Shield didn't really know what it was yet.
yeah, they were. This was the beginning of the whole superhero part of Shield.
Yeah, they were
kinda
just
thing.
discovering, kind of this was in the
Yeah.
the government should probably keep an eye on these super people.
There's some aliens falling from the sky.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh-oh.
they did really well, and it was him with two eyes.
Yeah. 2 eyes, no patch.
No patch. But they do some great jokes in relation to that throughout the movie.
They do.
It was really cool. I didn't notice this, and I mean this isn't a spoiler, but they were like, I was reading like Easter egg kind of things on it, and it was like, did you catch all the Pulp Fiction references?
There were a couple, and they were glorious.
They weren't
They weren't overt. But
They weren't
were
overt.
Subtle. So perfectly subtle.
and it was them in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another part with the drink.
Yeah.
The notes, but it's
They were so very subtle that unless you're a super Pulp Fiction fan,
right.
you're probably not going to catch them.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, and then I went back and looked at the drink. I got the car one, but the drink one was a little, like, really, like, kind of vague.
Yeah, that one's a deep cut.
But it's one of those scenes that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But then as soon as you know it, you're like, oh, I see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you instantly like, oh, that's a cool scene. Otherwise, it's just an alien drinking a drink.
Yeah.
But speaking of the aliens, because this is the Kree, which is the warrior
Yes.
kind of side of it, and then the Skrulls. And the Skrulls have been in the comics for a long time been villains.
They have.
Been this big villain. So I was really excited to see them. I was really nervous because they are shape shifting. They can look like you and me.
They can. They are
And that's
crafty
it. Just the
little
two of
buggers.
us. No, they can look like
they
anyone.
can look like you and me. They can't look like anybody else. So,
That's not the best.
If you're out there
Yeah.
on the streets right now and you see somebody walking around looking like Tucker and
That's
the Beard,
not us.
run for your life.
Yeah. But I was really anxious to see how they did that with the special effects. I think they nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to expect very impressive visuals from Marvel Studios at this point because you've got Disney budget. Like you got that Disney money now.
Yeah.
Like
You better bring it.
you better bring it.
And they did.
Yeah. If this is a corporation that can get Lucas to give up Star Wars because he trusts them
Yeah.
with the future of the franchise of films that he created. They've got obviously some firepower up their sleeves, and
I'm sure that's not the only reason that he gave it away. But
he had been offered big time money other times from other companies. Was it
Disney
a factor? Of course.
Right.
But
Was
it
it
wasn't the
Disney
only
money?
factor because he turned down good chunks of change
Oh,
to
yeah.
sell the franchise.
I was like, we're not getting on a Star Wars loop because I'll talk for days.
No. We're not going
Right.
on down the Star Wars loop. But what I'm saying is, he didn't have faith in those other companies.
Right.
I mean, now this could be completely fabricated. I read it on the internet.
On the interweb. On
So,
the line.
but he had said, I will not sell this, and I want to say it was 20th Century.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I will not license my franchise to you for any amount of money.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
yeah, he's got some history there as well. So yeah.
True, but it was, look at what they put out versus,
Oh yeah.
and
They
he's
brought
like,
it.
no, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
You can't offer me enough money to ever license this to you.
Yeah. No, it's Disney's bringing it. And
Yeah, they brought it.
it's coming close to the
Well,
end
we're
game.
we're at the
this
end of phase 4. We're at the end of phase 4 of the
Right.
MCU.
So we got one more till the end of phase 4, which is Avengers
Yeah,
Endgame.
I'm kind of we didn't address this, but I don't know yet if Spider-Man Far From Home is it phase 4? Is it phase 5? Is it just kind of off on its own?
I'm guessing it's the beginning of phase 5.
Because dude, there's not anything after that until like late next year.
Yeah, there's going to be a long wait.
Pause.
There's going to be a long pause.
So
But-
they better bring it with Endgame
Yeah.
because apparently they think it's going to take us a long time to recover
Yeah.
from what we're about to see.
There's going to be some things, but I was going to say with the scrolls, shaping, whatever I'm trying to say. I can't even changing. Yeah.
Sorry.
Leads to my personal favorite, and I got a little emotional at the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh yeah.
I got a little emotional with it because, well, you obviously know, but it
Yeah.
was, and that was
The
a game
last one.
changer because of who he was portraying.
Yeah.
And
It hit me right in
it
the
was-
feels too. I
yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
want to talk about it, but I don't want to give it
I know.
away.
We'll
We
talk
can-
about
we
it
can
once-
talk off mic.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it did hit me right in the feels.
Yeah, I got very emotional about it, and yeah, and people are watching it and that won't even get the reference and everything like that. Come talk to us later.
Yeah.
We'll explain some things.
But you know what I think we should do at some point is, without trying not to give away the reason
really
that
hard.
it made you emotional,
Right, it's
because
really
it also made me slightly emotional as
Yeah.
well. We should dive into those films at some point. And,
Yeah.
and we should talk
Soon.
about our
It'll be soon.
feelings on those films.
It'll be soon.
Yeah.
When the new one comes out.
Yeah.
It'll be soon.
Yeah.
It'll be soon enough. But yeah, that was a very emotional thing for me. But I loved the 90s time frame.
Mm-hmm.
It answered a lot of questions.
Yep.
It kind of threw some stuff in there. It
Filled
asked
in
a couple more.
Filled in some plot holes that
Yeah.
have been there through the MCU so far,
Right.
which I appreciated.
Yeah, and it's really, really hard because we say one thing and it's a spoiler.
I know,
So, and
we're
so
really trying hard not to.
so
This'll
many good
probably
things.
be a pretty short, for us, a pretty
Right.
short review because of that.
Because I'm like, oh, if I talk about this, that's a spoiler, and you need to go see this.
Yeah,
If you're down with
haven't
these kind of
already.
movies, if you're down with these kind of movies, it's a definite watch. Get over your male,
Not my
female,
captain.
not my captain stuff.
because your Captain Marvel
Welcome.
is Shazam.
Welcome to 2019.
Well,
There's a
and,
female Captain Marvel.
and your Captain Marvel is Shazam.
Yeah, so go watch
And
that.
that movie's coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna go see it too.
So yeah,
So whatever.
no, I took the whole family to see it. They
Yeah.
loved it. My girls loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Wife
got
loved it. Son loved it.
I've got a 4-year-old,
Yeah,
and if a 4-year-old will sit and watch a movie in a theater,
it's
it's got a little something going on.
there you go.
So
And it's got the cool post credits.
mid-credit, post-credit.
Yeah, there's 2.
Mhm.
Saying that now because I even told you before you went to go see it. Like
I'll be
there's
honest, I was
fairly checked out.
less than impressed with the second one.
I know, but you still need to.
I know.
You still need to. It's not.
But I was like, man, I waited 15 minutes for that.
I know it's not like the one. It was like
probably should've
Spider-Man.
YouTubed it.
Was it Spider-Man: Homecoming where you waited all the way to the end and it was Captain America being like, patience. You know,
Yeah.
when you're sitting around waiting for something and it just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite there. I mean, that was funny.
Yeah, but it's
But
close.
yeah, it's one of those ones where you go, okay.
I'll say this: it was less valuable than shawarma.
True.
I'll throw it. I'll bring it to that level.
I'm on a
I could
scale
have
of,
YouTubed it and been just fine.
but if you're there, whatever.
Yeah, go check
There's
it out.
nothing more infuriating of sitting in a Marvel movie and the credits start
Watching-
rolling and people
immediately
get up,
People start walking out.
getting up and
Is
leaving.
this your first time?
Yeah. Even my kids. Yeah. We're like, they don't get it. Yeah. So sit through the credits, watch
Yeah.
it.
But go check it out.
Yeah.
Listen, it's worth the money.
Yeah. I was going to say,
It's worth your time in the theater.
my parents went with us as well. And so they loved it from that standpoint because they, watched the Marvel movies. Maybe not all of them, but
Enough of them.
yeah. So it was a big thumbs up from my family.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right, man. Let's wrap this thing up.
I know. Was that trying not to spoil it? And
This
it was-
one
it was,
is-
it was rough.
Yeah, we can't keep talking without spoiling it. So
We're going to keep talking after the cameras.
yeah,
We're going to spoil it for each
we'll
other.
spoil it for each other who have already seen it.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. Sounded
Anyway,
good.
thank you guys so much for
Thank
watching.
you, thank
we
you.
really do appreciate all the support. Yeah,
fun.
stay tuned.
Please.
We've got some cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun stuff. Please stay tuned. Chime
Find our
in.
page, Tucker and the Beard,
Yeah,
on the Facebooks, on the
On the-
YouTubes.
on the YouTubes,
Yeah,
on
and
on the line.
until next time,
Till next time,
he's Tucker.
he's Beard.
We're out.